Alexandra Eala's fans to tears with emotional tribute after Japan Open loss. Under the bright lights of Tokyo's Ariake Coliseum, silence blanketed the air like fog after rain. The crowd, thousands strong, just moment ago sat in hushed disbelief. The scoreboard glowed. Coldly 6-4, 3-6, 5-7. Alexander. Eala had lost. But what came next? Her trembling voice, her tears that refuse to hide, and the word she offered not as a champion, but as a human would touch millions around the world. Because sometimes it isn't a trophy that defines greatness. It's the heart that shines when the trophy slips away. That night, Alexandra Eala didn't just play tennis. She bloomed through heartbreak and reminded the world what true victory looks like. The silence before the storm. The Japan Open had been her battlefield. Each match was a storm. She, brave with grit that belied her age. She was only 20, yet her composure carried the grace of a veteran and the fire of a dreamer who still believed in miracles. Tokyo had loved her from the start. Her smile was shy, her power undeniable. When she stepped onto the court, her aura was quiet lightning, soft but capable of striking deep. She had fought through the first rounds like a warrior cloaked in calm. Against top seed, she defied expectations. Against herself, she conquered doubt. By the semifinals, her name was on every Japanese news banner. The Filipina, rising star who dares to dream. But dreams, as she knew, were fragile things. The match that broke and built her. The final day arrived with clouds heavy over Tokyo Bay. Eala faced her toughest opponent yet, Japan's own pride, Hana Ishiwa, whose precision was like poetry written with fire. From the first serve, it was war. Each rally stretched into eternity. Ella's forehands cracked like thunder. Is she call? Defense answered like rain. The crowd swayed with every shot, every gasp, every hope. Eala took the first set 6-4. Her fans erupted. Filipino flags waving chants of "Let's go, Alex," echoing to the stands. But the second set turned. Ishikawa found rhythm. Eala faltered. Her legs grew heavy. Her serves a fraction late at 3-6. The match leveled. The third set was pure chaos, a dance between brilliance and exhaustion. Eala broke early, but nerves clawed back. At 55, every point was life or death. Then came the moment, a forehand wide by inches. Game set, match. Ishiwa. Eala stood, frozen, not from disbelief, but from heartbreak too heavy to hide. Her chest rose and fell in silence as she walked. The net, shaking hands with grace that only champions understand. And then, as applause swelled around her, she looked up, eyes shimmering with tears. She smiled because even in loss, she knew she had given everything. The speech that shook the arena. When the ceremony began, few expected her to speak for long. But as she took the microphone, voice trembling, something magical unfolded. Tonight, she began softly, I didn't win the title, but I won something I can never lose. Your love, your respect, and the strength to keep fighting. The audience went still. Her tears flowed freely, not the kind that beg for sympathy, but the kind that cleanse a soul. I want to thank Japan for showing me that tennis is not just about victory. It's about connection. Every cheer, every smile, every word from fans reminded me that even far from home, I am never alone. Her voice cracked on the word home. To my team, my family watching from Manila, you've been my roots, my light. I know I let you down tonight, but I promise this loss won't break me. It will grow me. Then she did something few athletes ever do. She bowed deeply, Japanese style, holding position for several seconds. The crowd rose in unison, clapping. Through tears, even Ishikawa, her opponent, stepped forward and embraced her. And just like that, Alexandra Eala transformed defeat into something divine, a moment of shared humanity, raw, unfiltered, unforgettable. The power of vulnerability. That speech became a spark. Within hours, clips flooded the internet. Hashtag will trended across Asia. Her emotional grace turned strangers into believers. A comment on X, formerly Twitter, read, "We didn't see a player lose. We saw a soul win." In a world obsessed with perfection, Eala reminded everyone that it's okay to break, to cry, to feel. That vulnerability isn't weakness. It's courage dressed in tears. Even athletes, often seen as invincible, are human. They fall, they fail, they bleed. And yet, when they rise again unashamed, their cracks, they become something far more inspiring than flawless champions. They become mirrors in which we see our own battles reflected. That night, millions saw themselves in Eala, the dreamer who lost smiled, the fighter who cried but still thanked the crowd. A letter to her younger self. Later, in a quiet Tokyo hotel room, Alexandra opened her journal, a habit she kept since age 12. She began to write, "Dear younger me, I know you dream of holding trophies you thought winning would make you enough, but tonight, after losing the biggest match of your life, you finally understood you've always been enough, even without the title, even without the spotlight, because you gave your whole heart. You played not for applause, but for love, the love of the game, the love of your country, the love of the journey itself. And maybe that's what it really means to win." She closed her notebook and smiled through tired eyes. Outside, Tokyo glowed, a city of lights and stories, of beginnings disguised as endings, echoes from the crowd. Back home in Manila, her parents watched the replay with pride and tears. Her mother whispered she didn't lose. When the world listened, sports channels replayed her speech again and again. One commentator put it best: Eala didn't lose a title. She gained the world's respect. Even Novak Djokovic posted a clip, writing, "True sportsmanship lives here." Billie Jean King added, "She reminds us that emotion is not weakness, it's connection." Suddenly, Alexander Ella's name wasn't just about tennis. It was about transformation. She became a symbol of how to fall beautifully and rise stronger. The return. A year later, Alexander returned to Tokyo, not as a finalist, but as a guest of honor. When she stepped on a court, the crowd roared, not for a champion, but for a human being who taught them something deeper. She waved, eyes glistening. "Last year, I cried here because I lost," she said into the mic. "This year, I cried because I found so much love." The audience rose to their feet once more. Some of the same fans who had cried with her that night. And in that moment, everything came full circle. The girl who once bowed in heartbreak now stood, tall in gratitude. Her garden of pain had bloomed into a field of inspiration. Epilogue, the bloom that never faded. Years later, when her careers looked back upon, people won't just remember her titles or rankings. They'll remember the night in Tokyo when she lost to Japan, opened but won the world heart. They'll remember her tears, her words, her bow. They'll remember that she taught us how to lose beautifully, how to love deeply, and how to bloom endlessly, because Alexandra Eala didn't just play tennis. She told a story, one of courage, compassion, and a quiet miracle of being human. And even after the lights dimmed, and the echoes faded, her message remained clear. It's okay to fall. It's okay to cry. Just don't stop blooming. Cherry Blossom, thank you for watching. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, like, and share. Till next,